What's up, everybody? It's Phil Moore, host of Nick Arcade, and you're watching Jammin' Music Man. It's the only place to get your groove on.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, Jammin' Music Man, and welcome to my special DVD pickup video. And in this video, I'm going to show you what DVDs I've got in the past few weeks and months. So sit back, relax, and I'll show you guys. This first DVD pickup is one of my favorite 90s action-packed blockbuster films. I'm talking about Conair. That's right. A 90s classic right here if you haven't seen it. And I remember very well when this movie came out in the summer of 96. And for any of you 90s kids out there who remember the summer of 96, that was the year of big blockbuster hits like Twister, Independence Day, Conair. But one of my favorite Nicolas Cage movies is this movie right here. If you haven't seen it, basically the plot is Nicolas Cage, he's like, I believe he's in like the Army or the Air Force or something. And at the beginning of the movie, him and his wife, they're at a bar. This alcoholic guy ends up following him and his girlfriend outside of the bar while Nicolas Cage gets in a fight with this guy and ends up killing the guy, so he ends up going to jail. And after he serves his time, they're going to transport him back to where he lives by an airplane which has a whole ton of convicts on the plane. And you get convicts like Danny Trejo, Dave Chappelle's in this movie, and the main villain that's in Conair is Cyrus the Virus, played by John Malkovich. Really great, fun movie. If you love those 90s action-packed blockbuster films in the same vein as like Speed, Twister, Independence Day, you're going to love Conair. And I picked this up at Walmart for $5, so hey, wasn't bad. Also, you get John Cusack. He plays some like big shot military guy in there, so you get him in there. And great film, and it was produced by Jerry Bruckheimer, who produces a lot of blockbuster action-packed films. But I highly recommend having this if you don't have it in your collection. That's Conair. And I know nowadays Nicolas Cage, people laugh at him now. He's in all these like straight to DVD like B movies. I don't know what's going on with him. I mean, Nicolas Cage used to be one of the top A-list actors, right up there with Brad Pitt and George Clooney, but now I just don't know what's going on with him. But if you want some classic, good old days Nicolas Cage, you gotta have Conair. Alright, you guys, this next DVD comes from the good old decade of the 80s and got the man himself, the Governor into the chopper, Arnold Schwarzenegger himself, in one of his best movies from the 80s, Commando. Oh yeah, 80s goodness right here. And if you haven't seen this movie, of course, it's got Arnold Schwarzenegger, and basically Arnold Schwarzenegger plays this retired military guy, John Matrix. He lives in the hills with his daughter, played by Alyssa Milano. It's just him and her, and you know, they're living their peaceful life until one day this South American drug lord sends his goons to kidnap Arnold Schwarzenegger's daughter. They kidnap her, so what does Arnold do? He ends up going after the goons, and after he ends up trying to find these goons to find out who's behind the kidnapping, he ends up meeting Radon Chong. If you don't know who Radon Chong is, she's Tommy Chong's daughter from Cheech and Chong. She was a big actress back in the 80s. She ends up helping Arnold to find where the South American drug lord is. They find him on this island, and of course all hell breaks loose, and Arnold ends up kicking ass. Does he get his daughter back? I'm not going to give it away. Hey, you got to buy Commando. But I really enjoyed this film. Of course, one of Arnold's best, and I highly recommend picking it up. And I believe I got this at Walmart for $5. But that's Arnold Schwarzenegger in Commando. Into the chopper! Alright you guys, that last DVD, I took you back to the 80s with Commando. Well, with this DVD, I'm taking you guys back to the 90s. And this DVD right here is one of my all-time favorite 90s movies, one of my all-time favorite movies by the director. It's Quentin Tarantino's debut film. I'm talking about Reservoir Dogs, the 15th anniversary special edition. And if you haven't seen this movie, classic Quentin Tarantino, right in the same vein as like Pulp Fiction, and you know, it's got that great Quentin Tarantino vibe. You get classic 70s songs throughout the film. And this movie came out in 92, so we're talking 2 years before Pulp Fiction. Pulp Fiction came out in 94, and you know, blew people's minds when it came out. But this right here was the movie that really got people talking, just who is Quentin Tarantino. And basically the plot of Reservoir Dogs, it's basically a story of these hitmen. They don't know each other's real names. They go by like Mr. Blue, Mr. Pink, Mr. Brown, Mr. Black. So they don't know each other's name, but they're planning to rob this bank. So they end up robbing this bank, and they get ambushed by the police. And one of them, they find out one of them could possibly be an undercover police agent. Who is it? I'm not going to tell you. But it's a really great thriller movie. Keeps you on your seat trying to figure out just who is this undercover police agent. And of course you get gore and violence, vulgar language, all that classic stuff you like in a Quentin Tarantino movie. But some of the special features you get on here, you get a great little short documentary called Playing It Fast and Loose, which is a documentary from the release, from its release in 1992. And I believe this movie made its debut at like Sundance, the Sundance Film Festival. And you know, this is what got Quentin Tarantino noticed. But also you get some deleted scenes, some classic interviews with Quentin Tarantino and people who helped work on the film. But I highly recommend picking this up. If you want to get into old school Quentin Tarantino, you got to have Reservoir Dogs. Alright you guys, this next DVD is coming straight out of the superhero movie genre. And I gotta admit, when this movie came to theaters, I stayed away from it. And you know, there was a lot of people that kind of criticized this movie when it came out. But after watching it, I've watched this like 4 or 5 times. And it's a good movie, and I highly enjoy it. And the movie I'm talking about is Man of Steel. And if you haven't seen Man of Steel, you got to check it out. And if you haven't seen Batman vs. Superman, I highly recommend go checking that movie out. But basically the plot is, you get the story of how Clark Kent, or Superman, gets sent to planet Earth by his parents. Basically, he was the last hope for his home planet Krypton, because Krypton is really like a dying planet. And there's this Zod, he's wanting to help rebuild the planet, basically in his own eyes, how he thinks Krypton should be. So, but the people who are in charge of planet Krypton, they end up sending Zod and his people away from planet Krypton, and he ends up making his way to planet Earth. And you really get flashbacks of Clark Kent when he was young, and how he was in certain situations where he wanted to fight like a bully, or when he saved his school bus from when it crashed into a river. You get flashbacks like that, and you hear his Earth father, played by Kevin Costner, he keeps on telling him throughout certain moments in his life, you're going to do great things. The world's going to know that you're a great person. And you get those flashbacks, and basically throughout the film, Zod comes to planet Earth, and he's looking for a certain person. That certain person is Clark Kent, or Superman. But great film, great action, and a great movie. And I highly recommend go picking it up. And the last Superman movie that came out in 2006, Superman Returns, I remember seeing that in theaters, and the guy who played him, or the guy who plays Superman in Superman Returns, I haven't seen him in anything since then. Maybe some of you can let me know what he's doing. But I like Henry Cavill, pretty good Superman, and this is a pretty good movie, and you got to go check it out. That's alright, you guys. This next movie I'm about to show you, I'm taking you guys back to the 90s. That's right, we're going back to the 90s again. But this movie right here is one of my all-time favorites from the 90s, and one of my all-time favorite movies of all time. And this year, it's an edge-of-your-seat thrill ride of a movie, and it's right there in the same vein with movies like Twister, Conair, other classic movies like that. And that movie I'm talking about is Speed. Always loved this movie. If you haven't seen Speed, what are you doing? One of the all-time best fun movies. And I got this at Walmart for $3. I mean, hey, you can't beat that. But basically the plot is, it's Keanu Reeves. He plays like this cop. And the movie starts off with him and Jeff Daniels. They're like these SWAT team guys, and they end up getting this call. They end up trying to stop this like deranged guy who's wanting money, and he's threatened to blow up this elevator. They come close to catching him, but he ends up getting away. So a couple of months later, Keanu Reeves, he's like at a coffee shop, and his friend, who's like a bus driver, he ends up getting on this bus, and as the bus going away, it explodes, and Keanu Reeves is trying to save his friend, and that's when he gets this phone call at a phone booth. That's right, there was phone booths back in the 90s. So he ends up getting this phone call at a phone booth, and it's the deranged, crazy guy, played by Dennis Hopper, threatening that he wants his money, and that there's this bus that's got a bomb on it, and if the bus goes below 50 miles per hour, the bus will explode. So Keanu Reeves finds the bus and pretty much spends the rest of the movie trying to keep the bus from going below 50. But it's an all-in-out fun movie. I love watching. I watched this movie countless millions of times. And a couple of years ago, I had a chance to meet Beth Grant. And Beth Grant was the lady who played the lady on the bus who was trying to jump off, but she ended up, or there was an explosion, and she ended up falling off the bus and getting killed. I had a chance to meet her, and I'll place that picture of me and her right now. But yeah, that was Beth Grant. Really nice to meet her. She's been in movies like No Country for Old Men and Donnie Darko and countless of other things. But guys, if you haven't seen Speed, you got to go get it. Alright, you guys, this next movie right here, straight out of the 90s. So we're keeping it 90s right here. And this movie actually came out the same year as Speed, 1994. But this movie right here, coming out of the video game movie genre, and I gotta say, it's not the best, but it's not the worst of the 90s video game genre. But the movie I'm talking about is Street Fighter. Oh yes, classic 90 goodness right here. Basically, you get Jean-Claude Van Damme as General. Can't remember what the general's name is, but basically he's trying to stop the evil General Bison from wanting to take over the world. Basically, General Bison is wanting to extort all the money in the world. He's wanting like $1 trillion, I think it was, just so he can, you know, help rule the planet. And of course, you get Jean-Claude Van Damme teaming up with Ryu and Ken, and also you get all the classic Street Fighter characters like Chun-Li, I believe it was, and you get the sumo guy and the boxer guy. I can't remember what their names are, but this movie right here, great fun. I love watching it, and a whole lot better than Double Dragon. But I got this for like $3 at Walmart here recently, and just had a great nostalgic trip when I watched it. But guys, it's not the best, but it's not the worst. But if you want to see it, hey, go pick it up. It's Street Fighter. Alright, guys, this last DVD I picked up. I remember watching this back when I was a kid in reruns, and I remember I had some of the toys from the show, and I guess you could say this show right here, it's one of the first anime shows that really made it big here in America back in the 80s, and that show is Voltron, Defender of the Universe. But this DVD right here, it's Voltron, The Legend Begins. Basically, you get the first 7 episodes of the series, and if you don't know what Voltron is, basically the plot is these space explorers, they arrive on this planet and they hear the legend of Voltron, and they end up finding these robot lines, and once the robot lines form together, they form Voltron. But each and every episode they end up finding some monster that's wanting to destroy the planet. But all in all, great, classic fun. One of the best cartoons from the 80s and one of the best cartoons of all time. And this show right here was this show and Robotech back in the 80s were really one of those first cartoons that opened a lot of people's eyes to anime from Japan. But I love this show. I don't have any of the seasons, but I really enjoyed watching this little DVD set. It's just one disc, but $5 at Walmart. But if you want to check out Voltron, The Legend Begins, I highly recommend picking it up. But guys, that's Voltron, The Legend Begins. So I think that's a wrap for my DVD pickup video. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, leave me a comment if you like what DVDs I picked up. Also, I'll put a link to my Twitter and Instagram below, so hit me up on those sites. But all in all, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. But before I let you guys go, I gotta let you know that I did pick up this week straight out of Dudleyville, and be on the lookout for my DVD review of this here real soon on my channel. But guys, I'm Jammin' Music Man. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time.